Hey guys. Okay, so I was scrolling down the episode forum and I was just kind of looking for some tips. I don't know. It's kind of no secret that I've been having a lot of problems with episode recently, and I was kind of just looking for some hints, hoping maybe I'd stumble upon something. Yeah. So, and I came across this post, and you know how I've been saying for a really long time how the new algorithm, the new guidelines, the new just set up in episode's favor against community writers. Yeah, well, I kind of just, kind of got confirmation, I guess. I don't know. So I came across this post, and I guess it's posted by this person called Rachel on Episode, and it was posted 17 days ago. So she starts, this morning I did the same thing I do every morning. Woke up, got dressed, brushed my teeth, worked for 2 hours, blah 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 blah, and opened up the episode app like I always do and started browsing. I don't know what that. Don't worry about that. And then I checked the adventure genre and saw this. So, you know what I noticed? I've always noticed about the adventure, action, and horror is that it's usually filled more with romance stories that aren't actually adventure, action, or horror. I mean, and readers do this, so writers do this so that their stories can get noticed easier, because romance and drama is kind of filled to the brim with things, and it's really hard to get. But anyway, so wait, what? My story that's been finished for 4 months, clocking in at 16 chapters with a mediocre directing and a fun but shallow plot with 15,000 reads, is trending number 1 in adventure. I was excited but also very confused. All Aboard tends to trend pretty consistently, but more around the 40 to 80 mark. The highest it ever trended before was number 8, and that was when my other much better written and directed story, Ghost of a Chance, was being featured as an editor's pick. Outside of that, it's never cracked the top 20. Getting back to my laptop, I pulled up my stats, so it's pretty cool. Like most community authors, I had never had any gem choices in my stories until mid last month. The algorithm, and this is the bit that got me, the algorithm was changed to heavily favor authors who included gem choices. So if you don't put gem choices in your story, the algorithm does not favor you. So you have to put gem choices in your story in order to go further up the trending to get more reads. That means going against what your readers want, because readers don't like gems. They don't like gem choices. They want to have the choice of what without gems. They hate gems. So you either go against what your readers want, the readers who have stuck with you since day one, the ones who have supported you and consistently, those people, go against them and include gem choices in your story at the risk of losing them and the majority of your readers, because whenever I use gems in a story, I get less reads on a story than when I don't include gems on a story. In which case, you won't get the reads, so you won't go up the... Okay, so let's carry on, right? So reluctantly, I threw a 5-gem optional support the author choice on the end of each chapter. Seeing as how it's only the 6th day of the month, and I knew for a fact that when I checked last my stats yesterday, I only had 5 gems this month. Overall, someone spent 195 gems on my story, and that's why I was trending. So it's how many gems are spent on your story that gets you further up the algorithm. Is that seriously what I'm hearing right now? So to get further up in the algorithm, to get more reads, to get more people seeing your story, because, you know, when I first started writing an episode, there was a lot of talk of, if you're writing for people to read your story, then you're writing for the wrong reasons. Those are the reasons. Nobody writes anything, whether it... Never mind about that. I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to edit it. Whatever happens, it's staying in, okay? People keep messaging me and they won't leave me alone. I'm popular today. Anyway, maybe you didn't hear it. I don't know. What was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, I don't believe this. This is insane. This is seriously insane. If you don't put gems in your story is not going to go anywhere. And effectively, this is why my story didn't move and hasn't moved, because despite the fact that it's getting consistent reads, there's no gems in it. So if I put gem choices in Forbidden Pleasures, it would move. Now that doesn't make any sense to me. Let's keep on reading. I hope that was what I was talking about. Whoever just messaged me and made me forget my train of thought, yeah, they're in trouble. The new algorithm wasn't created to help community authors. See? What have I been saying from the start? It was not created to help community authors. Episodes say that a lot. Episode sends me endless emails. We want to help community authors. We want to make ways that they can make a living off episode. And I just roll my eyes so much that I'm in danger of my eyes just staying fixed to the back of my eye. Just because that's not what they do. They create more ways to make things difficult for community authors. I mean, I've said it before, but how many times do you open the app in a week and you see 24 hours free gem choice for this episode original story? And no one likes episode original stories. They're not very good. They're not very engaging. They don't make you want to read the next episode. I started reading the Christmas story and I stopped doing it because it was just awful. Like, that's no disrespect to the author, okay? I just didn't like it, and it didn't make me want to read. And there was gem choices in there that were just useless, that if you put them in there, you'd be flagged. There were lines in that story that if you put them in there, you'd be flagged. There was direction in that story that if you'd put it in there, it would be flagged. I told you, in that first chapter, there was a scene where the two characters are like intimate together, I guess. And I did that once by accident because I typed in the wrong number. And episode told me it was oral sex. I was about to write, holy crap, if that's oral sex, I don't know what the hell you're doing. But I refrained because there's no point in talking to those people. They really don't want a conversation. This is insane. It was created to bring more money into episode, see, and it's working. So, you know, episode, I remember what I was saying, by the way. I remember what I was saying. if you aren't writing for people to read your work, then what are you writing for? Yeah, I remember what I was saying. You can write for yourself, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is for other people to read your work. Because what's the point? It's quite hard to make an episode story. I mean, you have to create the characters. I mean, this is after you've thought up your story, your characters, you've built a storyline, you've given them direction, you've created their characters. And I mean like personalities and motivations. And then you've got to create them. You've got to create clothes. You start to write the story. You have to direct it. You have to think up. I mean, seriously, it's not an easy task. Yet Episode has done everything in its power to absolutely penalize community writers. I mean, if you're lucky, if you're really, 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 really lucky, but it only happens to a few, Episode will pick your story and they'll feature it. And it'll be original story and you can, and then you kind of, I don't know, maybe set if you keep writing that kind of story because they'll keep plugging that story. And then you're getting more publicity for your other stories. But again, that's really rare, especially if you're writing stories that aren't, straight white. That's just fact. I mean, heaven forbid Episode actually employ a writer from the LGBT community to write a story exclusively for LGBTQ readers because they are there. You just don't do anything to keep them. So it's really hard to write for LGBTQ readers because a lot of them come in and then notice that there's not much there, so they go back out, they leave. It's hard to keep those readers because and a lot of people who start writing LGBTQ content start writing and get dismayed and realize that there's not a lot of readers and think, so they go to write straight content and leave. So a lot of the stories for LGBTQ are unfinished. And sometimes you have to leave the story because it's not making you the most reads, it's not making you the most money. I'm not someone who thinks that you should write not for reads or not for money. If you put in hard work and time into your content and it's your art, you should get paid. I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep reading this post because it's interesting. I've been playing featured stories, which I haven't done in years, so I would have gems to support my friends. I know other community members have been doing that. Oh, well, thanks for helping me, people. No, I'm joking. I don't know anyone, so I keep to myself. Too much drama. As well as buying gems, and hey, I get it. Episode is a business, and they need to make money to stay afloat. I mean, yeah, it's obvious. But doing that at the expense of your community, of your authors who spend hundreds, in some cases, including mine, thousands of hours contributing to your app, it's not the right move. And consistently authors tell them this, and consistently readers tell them this, but consistently, it's my favorite word today, Episode go against that. In more ways than one, the authors know more what the readers want than Episode. Because the authors, we're the ones who speak to our readers. In some cases, we've spent years with these readers, building up a reader base. We know them, we know what they want. They tell us what they want. And I'm sure some don't listen, but others do. Other authors listen. And we want to fulfill those things, but we can't. Like, if I want to get my story up, I'm gonna have to put gems into it. Like, I don't want to. Like, I promised I would not put gems in, and if I did, I would tell them. Luckily, recently there was a thing brought in where you could choose the amount of gems, and in my last story, I put them in, but it was only because I could control how many gems I was needed to for the gem choice, and I picked quite low because, you know. Okay, let's keep on. Personally think that having gems somewhat contribute to ranking is fine. I don't. But it's okay to disagree. There are plenty of things that go into the algorithm, such as reads, retention, scores, etc. My forbidden pleasures. I think this is kind of a really good example of how bad this is. My forbidden pleasures, you know, the one that was yeeted, thanks episode. I still got to get over that. I just it was consistently in the top 80, even when I wasn't updating. When I was updating, it was consistently in like the top 30. It spent time at number. I think it spent a month at number 1 once. Anyway, if it wasn't a month, it was a little bit less than a month, but it was a while. And after it was yeeted, because, you know, episode of fun. They literally reviewed that story 2 months before and it was fine. Yeah. Not to mention the other 50 times it was reviewed before that. Because whenever your story is in the top 100, I think, your story is constantly being reviewed. It doesn't mean somebody has reported your story. It's just always being reviewed. I think it goes back to the time where there was a time where people would start quite innocently, and then as they got to like chapter 30, they'd start to put a bit more spicier things in. So I guess maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. But I had to start again, and I have nearly 30 million reads in the episode app. And you'd think I would be okay, right, to get back up into the trending. Nah. I think the highest Forbidden Pleasures has been not the LGBTQ version. That was never. Which is another sore point because the LGBTQ version of Forbidden Pleasures was never banned. Same content, never banned. Interesting, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah. No, the highest that Forbidden Pleasures has been since is 120, and I can't break into the top 100. And that was with me updating every single day for 3 months. I couldn't do it. Couldn't break into the top 100. And now I have to think, should I put gems in this story? Is that what will help? I don't want to, because I made a promise and I don't like breaking promises. And that's not me being really noble. Oh, look at me, I'm really great. No, I just don't like breaking promises. Oh, there are plenty of things that go... Yeah, we've read this bit. I don't see why gems can't be a part of that. But when spending a few gems is enough to skew your ranking this severely, you've missed the mark. Good point. My other story was on the editor's pick shelf for the same week, and the new algorithm was put in place. The first 3 or 4 days of it being shelved, I got over 5,000 reads and was trending number 6 in mystery. Oh, mystery is the other. I once went to the mystery app shelf, and there was no mystery stories. There was all romance, mafia story. Which was amazing. Then the new algorithm came in and it immediately dropped to 44. That's a massive difference, especially when I was still getting about 1,000 reads a day, every day. I read one of my friend's stories that hadn't gotten any reads in a week or two, dropped 5 gems on a support choice, and her story jumped to number 52 in the trending. The algorithm so heavily favors gems now that we're not even trending on our own merits. Yikes. This is problematic. This is really, really bad. And this will only hinder community authors. I mean, the bigger ones, I mean, I guess they'll be fine because they have a really big following. But for smaller ones and authors just getting started, yeah, this is problematic. Because they're not going to use gems to read your story. I'm seriously, I put a gem choice in every chapter, one gem choice. How many do you need to put in a chapter? How many? Because with the episode original stories, it's 4 gem choices in a chapter. Is that it? And then do you need to put higher numbered gem choices? Is that the thing? Oh, let's carry on. That's why even though this is a victory for me, it feels a bit hollow. I didn't get here because my story is that good. Trust me, I'll be the first to admit it's not. I got here because someone spent a ton of gems to support me. Okay. I don't know, this sucks, man. This really sucks. And as good as it feels to know there is someone's out there who enjoy my story enough to do something so generous and kind, it would feel a lot better knowing that the success I saw from the story was because I deserved it. Anyways, thank you for reading my rant. Let me know your thoughts on the new algorithm and how it has affected your stories. Thank you, Rachel. P.S. If you happen to be the person who spent 195 gems on my story overnight, please DM me. I need to thank you personally. Oh, she seems sweet. Okay. I don't know. Let's read what Kylie J says. Like you, I agree that it is okay for gems to have a slightly larger impact on trending. Keyword slightly. I mean, I guess slightly, but then again, you're going to penalize the authors who don't want to put gems in their stories. You're going to penalize authors who are just abiding by what their readers want. I mean, it's overwhelming. My readers don't like gems. They hate them. I hate them. Okay. So it kind of seems clear that this is what has to happen now. So, I mean, I really wanted to start a new story, which I have done, and I've written 3 chapters. Well, 2.5, but the third one's nearly written. It's not going to be out yet. It's next month, so I got plenty of time. But I'm going to have to go back to chapter 1 and start putting freaking gem choices in. I need to go to Forbidden Pleasures, type, and create freaking gem choices. Oh. And it's not what readers want. That's the most annoying thing. But I'm going to have to go against what they want. Which means I'm going to get fewer reads. And hope that someone spends 195 gems on my story. Oh, God. Maybe. Are we allowed to do what Episode does with their original stories and put sex scenes behind gem choices? Okay, let's read what Kylie J says. Like you, I agree. Yeah, I've read that. I don't think it should affect a story this heavily. True. That's really insane and completely unfair to those who don't want to use gem choices. Exactly. Thank you, Kylie. I also think that gems having a larger impact wouldn't even be that big of a deal if they actually gave us more ways to earn gems. Yeah, for real. Like every other episode, not just limited to originals and features or more gems per original featured read, especially when episode original featured gems are upwards of 15. That's more than... There were so many episodes, chapters of the Christmas story where, like, all 4 gem choices were 29 gems. Like, we never even changed outfit. It was 29 gems to change fucking outfit. That's more than most of Episode Original's completed stories. On top of that, the new lowest gem choice is 5. They said in the email it was 4. It's 4, right? It's 4. Or is it 6? Well, I can't remember. I need to check that out. I've forgotten. I think they should have kept 2 because of the whole it's not easy to get gems unless you buy reasoning. I understand they're a company and they need to make money. Totally get it. I think they went about it the wrong way though. Prices are too steep and not enough ways to earn a little more for free. I won't leave the community. Yeah, that. I mean, if you start episode new now, you don't start like when I started it. I remember the whole of episode was available. Every single story, the originals, the community authors. I mean, when I first started, there wasn't many. Let's face it, there wasn't many. Okay, I think I was like 2015. God, I started reading before I started writing, so it may have been 2014. Now, it could have been before that. It could have been before that. Holy shit, it's been a long time. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? It was a lot longer than that, actually. But I guess I only started writing 4 episodes and like properly in like 2014, 2015. 2015. Yeah, I think 2014, 2015, end of 2014. I think that was... Yeah, I think that's... I'll have to check, but I think that's correct. But now, when you start new, when you come into it fresh, you have to unlock. And to do that, you have to unlock the actual community authors, you have to read the original stories. And there is a way around that. Somebody told me that if someone sends you the link to their story, you can read it. But if you're a new reader, what writers do you know? And most of the time, you drop them a message, they're not really going to answer you. I mean, we get a lot of messages every single day. I still have some messages from a month ago I need to reply to. I hope people don't think I'm being rude. If you spend all day answering messages, then you don't really do anything. You just on Instagram and in Twitter answering messages. But I apologize. I will get around. But it's true. So they have to read the original stories before they can unlock, unless they pay, I think it's $9.99. So that sucks. Okay. So, as someone who... Oh, okay, this is interesting. I didn't initially think the gems issue would be as drastic as it seems to be. But since it was announced, I've seen and heard many people saying that their trending has gone massively either up or down. Mine's down. Purely due to their inclusion or lack of gems. Uh-huh. As someone who tends to avoid gem stories, I never intended to add them to my own. This is exactly like me. This is exactly like me. When they are published, I don't like to read gems. I hate them. I hate them. So I wasn't going to include them in my story. And the feedback from my readers was overwhelmingly, please don't add gems. But what do I do now? Like it seems pointless to spend so much time and work into a story and it yet now this is becoming such a major role in how well your story is going to do on the app that I'm having to consider adding them in some way, like many others, and think how it could be added to make it worthwhile for readers to spend gems, exactly. And not have those who can't miss out. I understand episodes wish to make gems have an impact, but the sheer scale that they are having is where it ends up missing the target for me. The problem is that the more readers, the more authors who put gems into their stories, well, if you think of one reader doesn't only read the stories of one author. So in a week, they say 6 or 7 or maybe up to 10 different authors they read put out a chapter with gems in. They can only do gems on certain stories that they have the gems for. Not everyone has the money to buy. Also, this is an app that's kind of targeted for like teens. So how are you expecting them to spend so much money on gems? Episode really have not thought this through their own greed. It's just insane. I mean, look at their app. It's 12. It's 12. What 12-year-old? No, seriously. What 12-year-old, whilst they're spinning through the endless episode original stories of inappropriate bad boy behavior and pregnancies, has so much money to spend on gems? Because there isn't a way to make those gems organically just by reading stories for all those chapters they want to read. Greed really has kind of seeped so much into episode, and it's been happening for a couple of years, but this is insane. And you're forcing authors to put gems in, so authors kind of don't have much choice. It's that or not get the reads. So you're gonna have to, like, I don't know, sell your soul and give away and betray those old readers to get new ones. Hopefully. Oh God, this is just a disaster. This is just, yeah, this is a disaster. And don't forget, when your story is in like the top 100, you're getting consistently like thousands of reads a day. If that's romance and drama, you're getting consistently. Oh God, this is just okay. So I guess Alright, what's this one? Brianna says, I'm speaking for myself when I say this, but like many people, I was so against the idea of gems and gem choices, I couldn't stand it. I felt like it was unfair to charge gems for a choice on a platform that is geared to a 12-plus audience. This may be the same person who commented on one of my earlier podcasts about this. I hadn't really thought about it, but she commented and I was like, you know what? Actually, yes. And especially in a time when, for the last almost a year, there's been a freaking pandemic and lots of people lost their jobs. Do you think they're spending money on gems? Do ya? Do ya? I don't think so. A lot of kids and young teens don't have a source of income to buy gems and things of that nature. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Back on topic. I don't like that the number of gems affect your story's rank and popularity. The number of gems spent on an author's story should not determine their story's popularity when it comes to the trending shelves. Personally, I think the trending algorithm is somewhat rigged and unfair because it only favors one group of authors. I think you know what I mean by that. We certainly do, Brianna. And I don't have anything against those authors who have a lot of gems spent on their stories. They're basically getting popular based on gems, which isn't fair at all. Those gems don't determine how good or well a story is written. Absolutely correct. I think that's going to be the last comment we're going to read. But I just found this and it just confirmed everything that I thought, but also like worse. I mean, I guess I found my solution. I was looking for hints and tips and I guess I found it. But now I have a big decision to make. Like big. Like, do I put gem choices in those stories? I mean, or don't I? Yeah. So I'll think about that for a little bit, couple of days, and then get to work, I guess. Oh boy. So, yeah. I love episode. It's fun. Kind of seems to be the only app that kind of really exploits a lot. I mean, choices always kind of sucked and always like gem choices for the most ridiculous reasons. I mean, I hate those stories. I stopped reading them. You know, in a story you have like 5 love interests and there's like one female love interest and you're like, I don't want to go sledding with the dude. I want to do this with her, but you have to pay gems, so you have to go with him instead. And you're like, oh, this is fucked up. Anyway, best app is Lovestruck. I won't take any reason on that. It's Lovestruck. 1 gem's choice in a chapter. Yeah, you only get 2 tickets to read, but it replenishes back up, and I like the wait, you know, especially if it's a good story, and there's a lot of good stories on Lovestruck. It's the anticipation. I love that. I love it. It's my favorite app. Brilliant stories, diverse stories. I love it. Anyway, so I'm gonna get lost now because, yeah, it's Saturday afternoon and I need to start thinking about gems. My life is very fun. I'm not worried. It's a pandemic. We're all doing the same thing. Okay, so I hope you have a great day. And I hope you take care. Stay safe. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.